Hello, guys. Thank you for watching. Melky here. Hello, guys. Melky here. I don't know the timing. Have I started? Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. And I'm going to read the terms. And sorry about my. I haven't groomed. So I'm sorry about that. Could have looked better, but my camera is already pretty bad, and my hair is. I haven't put on products, but there are things that are more important. Okay, there are a lot of things that are more important than that, and shallow people is uh, is 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 going to make me look bad. So we're gonna start with the terms of service. uh, English courtesy translation. Terms of service. Welcome to YouTube. Thank you for using the YouTube platform and products, services, and features we make available to you as part of the platform. Thank you. And our surface, the surface allows you to discover, watch, and share videos and other content, provides a forum for people to connect, inform, and inspire others across the globe, and acts as a distribution platform for original content creators and advertisers, large and small. We provide lots of information about our products and how to use them in Help Center. Among other things, you can find out about YouTube Kids. Excuse me, guys. All right, I am not affiliated with YouTube, and I am not giving you a warrant or guarantee. Just like read this at your own risk, and with your own discretion. If you have some kind of impairment in terms of that, it would endanger, like reading the terms and conditions could endanger your health, your well-being, or your financial situation, please consult professionals, because I don't want you to experience any kind of harm or whatsoever. Let's YouTube Kids and YouTube Partner Program and YouTube paid membership and purchases were available. You can also read all about enjoying content on other devices like television, your games console, or Google Home. Your service provider. The entity providing the service is Google LLC, a company operating under the laws of Delaware, located at 1600 Amphitheater Parkway, Mountain View, California 94043, referred to as YouTube, we, us, or our. References to YouTube's affiliates in these terms means the other companies within the Alphabet Incorporate group now or in the future. Applicable terms. Your use of the service is subject to these terms: the YouTube community guidelines, the policy, safety, and copyright policies, which may be updated from time to time. Together, this agreement. Your agreement with us will also include the advertising on YouTube policies if you provide advertising or sponsorship to the service or incorporate paid promotions in your content. Any other links or references provided in these terms are for informational use only and are not part of the agreement. Please read this agreement carefully and make sure you understand it. If you do not understand the agreement or do not accept any part of it, then you may not use the service. Who? Who may use the service? Um, Age requirements. You must be at least 13 years old to use the service. However, children of all ages may use the service, and YouTube Kids were available if enabled by parent or legal guardian. Excuse me for a bit. Suddenly, my nose is not cooperating with me. Uh, just like it happened again today, unexpectedly. Thank you for your patience. Permission by parent or guardian. If you're considered a minor in your country, you represent that you have your parents or guardian's permission to use the service. Please have them read this agreement with you. If you're a parent or legal guardian of a minor in your country, allowing your child to use the service, you are subject to the terms of this agreement and responsible for your child's activity on the surface. You can find tools and resources to help you manage your family's experience on YouTube, including how to enable a child under the age of 13 to use the service and YouTube Kids in our help center through Google's Family Link. Okay, a lot of jargons, guys, and a lot of things that needs to be understood first. But what we can understand, let's understand it first, and then uh, let's repeat it again if we haven't understood it. Businesses, if you are using the service on behalf of a company or organization, you represent that you have authority to act on behalf of that entity, and that such entity accept this agreement. And even though even though you haven't understood everything, I think it is kind of created for you. So I suppose they have you in mind when they are making these terms after themselves, of course. Therefore, if you kind of don't feel bad if you don't really get everything. I mean, you should get everything, I guess, but I think it's not because you are you are not yourself, but because it is what it is, right? What I mean is, like, it's not like you're engineering major or you're an IT major instead of a law graduates or a lawyer. You don't have to feel bad about that. Your use of the surface, content on the surface. The content on the surface includes videos, audio, for example, music and other sounds, graphics, photos, text, such as comments and scripts, branding, including trade names, trademarks, surface marks or logos, interactive features, software, metrics, and other materials, whether provided by you, YouTube, or a third party, collectively content. Content is the responsibility of the person or entity that provides it to the surface. YouTube is under no obligation to host or serve content. If you see any content you believe does not comply with this agreement, including by violating the community guidelines or the law, you can report it to us. Google accounts and YouTube channels, you can use parts of the surface, such as browsing and searching for content without having a Google account. However, you do need a Google account to use some features. With a Google account, you may be able to like videos, subscribe to channels, create your own YouTube channel, and more. You can follow these instructions to create a Google account. So that I suppose this instruction. Let me continue on. Creating a YouTube channel will give you access to additional features and functions, such as uploading videos, making comments, or creating playlists where available. Here are some details about how to create your own YouTube channel. To protect your YouTube, oh, that is the hyperlink right there. It is a hyperlink. So after this, it is not a step-by-step instruction. You got to click the link. Okay, I'm moving on. To protect your Google account, keep your password confidential. You should not reuse your Google account password on third party applications. Learn more about keeping your Google account secure, including what to do if you learn of any unauthorized use of your password or Google account. Your information, our privacy policy explains how we treat your personal data and protect your privacy when you use the service. The YouTube Kids Privacy Notice provides additional information about our privacy practices that are specific to YouTube Kids. We will process any audio or audiovisual content uploaded by you to the surface in accordance with the YouTube data processing terms. So they give you hyperlink there. You can click on it and read further what are the terms. Except in cases where you upload such content for personal purposes or household activities. Learn more. The learn more part is also a hyperlink. And then permissions and restrictions. You may access and use the service as made available to you as long as you comply with this agreement and applicable law. You may view or listen to content for your approval for your personal non-commercial use. You may also show YouTube videos through the embeddable YouTube player. The following restriction apply to your use of the service. You are not allowed to access, reproduce, download, distribute, transmit, broadcast, display, sell, license, alter, modify, or otherwise use any part of the service or any content except as expressly authorized by the service or with prior written permission from YouTube, and if applicable, the respective rights holders. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to kind of absorb this. Next, circumvent, disable, fraudulently engage with, or otherwise interfere with any part of the surface or attempt to do any of these things. Sorry, guys, there are more mucus in my nose, including security related features or features that A, prevent or restrict the copying or other use of content, or B, limit the use of the surface or content. Three, access the surface using any automated means such as robots, botnets, or scrapers, except A, in the case of public search engines in accordance with YouTube robots TXT file, or B, with YouTube's prior written permission. A lot of people maybe not really get what these robots are. Like, why would you access the YouTube with these scrapers? I suggest, like, you would kind of you can learn about it if you search on how search engines work. Number four, or harvest any information that might identify a person, for example, usernames or faces, unless permitted by that person or allowed under Section 3 above. But a lot of people probably would kind of collect information about a YouTube persona or maybe a celebrity. Um, I think that is also can be not nice. It's not like oh, this kind of term right here is ignorable. I don't think so, guys. I think um, in some cases it still applies to a degree. Next, use the service to distribute unsolicited, promotional, or commercial content or other unwanted or mass solicitations. Number five. Number six, cause or encourage any inaccurate measurements or genuine user engagement with the service, including by paying people or providing them with incentives to increase a video views, likes, or dislikes, or to increase a channel subscribers or otherwise manipulate metrics in any manner. Look, like, for example, I don't recommend this, right? Like, for example, I saw a very funny comedian, and then I kind of search other videos related to that comedians. I think that would, like, semantically speaking, it would like kind of half harvesting information about the person. And I think if I'm kind of beginning to approach the line, I guess. And then uh Seven, misuse any reporting, flagging, complaint, dispute, or appeals process, including by making groundless, vexatious, or frivolous submissions. Eight, run contests on or through the service that do not comply with YouTube's contest policies and guidelines. I do have experienced this in the past, so I am personally myself, I'm a little bit surprised with this one. I want to look forward into it. So is it really not okay for, especially for example, if you're a gacha game player and you have a community, right? And you connect with your community through YouTube, and within that community you kind of play some games, right? And kind of know each other, get to know each other's names, and building a community. So to what extent is this kind of activity, this kind of activity is kind of going to be not okay for YouTube, because YouTube can be okay about whatever they want to be okay and not okay about whatever they don't want to be okay. Sometimes they just like on the spot, probably spontaneous, be like, you know what, I'm not gonna feel okay about this, and it's entirely in their right to do so. Um, but maybe I don't think that's a good idea though, because sometimes you're reckless, and sometimes you would be like contradicting your previous decisions. um but I'm not a lawyer, and I forgot where am I. Like I'm supposed to be continuing on, but I'm rambling. Um, but this is pretty interesting to me. Like also concerning to me, to be honest with you. That's why I want to stay in here for a while, if you would allow me, because this is contest policies. Like I like this idea, having a contest, having a tournament, right? I really like this, and I feel bad that you cannot do this. Maybe I don't know. So, number nine, use the service to view or listen to content other than for personal, non commercial use. For example, you may not publicly screen videos or stream music from the service. Uh, I mean, I guess if you have a business place and you use YouTube to kind of increase the sales, I think that is a rather more, that is an issue that requires a different kind of contract, right? This is not the contract that we are dealing with uh, events for that. Use the service to A, sell any advertising, sponsorship, or promotion around or within the service or content other than those allowed in the advertising on YouTube policies, such as compliant product placement. And B, sell advertising, sponsorship, or promotions, or any page or any website or applications that only contains content from the service, or where content from the service is the primary basis for such sellers. Um, for example, selling ads on a web page where YouTube videos are the main draw for users visiting the web page. So basically, creating some kind of another YouTube using YouTube videos. It's a little bit not like using your service to compete against you, right? Um, that I think that's the meaning. But like surface meaning, right? There are a lot of more important meanings, probably depending on your each people's circumstances. I just want to you know change things around a little bit, just as bad. Next, going to reservation. Using the service give you ownership or rights to any aspect of the service, including usernames or any other content posted by others or YouTube. Um, I mean, it's not logical, right? You're just watching videos and suddenly you own the service. It doesn't make sense to me, to be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe it's important. I just don't see it yet. Develop, improve, and update the constantly changing and this continual evolution, we may make modification or changes to all or part of the surface, such as adding or removing features and functionalities, offering new digital content or services, or discontinuing old ones. We may also need to alter or discontinue the surface or any part of it in order to make performance or security improvements, make changes to comply with law, or prevent illegal activities on or abuse of our systems. These changes may affect all users, some users, or even an individual user. Like when the service requires or includes downloadable software such as YouTube Studio application, that software may update automatically on your device. Once a new version once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device setting, excuse me again, that software may update automatically on your device once a new version or feature is available, subject to your device settings. If we make material changes that negatively impact your use of the service, we'll provide you with reasonable advance notice, except in urgent situations such as preventing abuse, reporting to legal requirements, or addressing security and operability issues. We'll also provide you with an opportunity to export your content from Google account using Google Takeout, subject to applicable law and policies. Your content and conduct. Uploading content. If you have a YouTube channel, you may be able to upload content to the service. You may use content to promote your business or artistic enterprise. If you choose to upload content, you must not submit to the service any content that does not comply with this agreement, including the YouTube community guidelines or the law. For example, the content you submit must not include third party intellectual property, such as copyrighted material, unless you have permission from that party or are otherwise legally entitled to do so. You are legally responsible for the content you submit to the service. We may use automated systems that analyze your content to help detect infringement and abuse, such as spam, malware, and illegal content. Rights you grant. You retain ownership rights in your content. However, we do require you to grant certain rights to YouTube and other users of the service as described below. Like to YouTube, by providing content service, you grant um, YouTube a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, and transferable license to use that content, including reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works, replay, display and perform it in connection with the service and YouTube's and its successors and affiliates business, including for the purpose of promoting and redistributing part or all of the service. Why promoting? Why promotion is here? Guys, excuse me for a bit. I want to understand this. License to YouTube. By providing content to the service, you grant to YouTube worldwide exclusive non-royalty free derivative works in connection with the service and YouTube and its successors business, including for the purpose of promoting and redistributing part or all of the service. Yeah, but like I would expect promoting I mean it, the meaning of it like are because the part of the surface, right? The by surface, what you the meaning of surface is YouTube's surface, right? But the word THED, the surface would be including the successors and affiliates surface or not. And your like you, if you kind of probably want to be promoted, you kind of bought an advertisement spots or something like that, or maybe it's some kind of non-profit concerns, or some kind of like requirement concerns. What the surface here is a little bit. Mm, is there a have they specified the surface? I think I should figure it before I continue on. Please bear with me. Please bear with me. Yes, I think the surface. Yes, it is the surface. I think it's in here. I would I would interpret for myself that it is YouTube surface. License to other users. This is pretty important, guys. I want to read this one as well. You also grant each other user of the service a worldwide non-exclusive royalty-free license to access your content through the service and to use that content, including to reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works, display and perform it only as enabled by a feature of the service such as video playback or embeds. For clarity, this license does not grant any rights or permissions for a user to make use of your content independent of the service. Right, guys? So, kind of, I think uh, I wasn't planning on interpreting this, but I want to do it for myself as well. Sorry, guys, because if I talk and having a conversation like this, I probably could notice what otherwise I would skip, right? So, for example, so far I would say like if you want to take some content from another surface like from Twitch or TikTok, and you want to put it here, they're kind of they're embedded with music on their own, right? So that music is probably problematic. The same way that if you have YouTube Shorts and you want to kind of post it on a different channel as a compilation, maybe it's part of a compilation, but the musician that is automatically embedded with native YouTube features inside that shorts might not like it, all right, or probably in violation of their rights, even though probably they wouldn't care at first. But it's not a good habit, I guess, for us to keep on doing that, because if we keep on accumulating in doing that, eventually people gonna be like, yo, this is a trend that is kind of problematic and so kind of a concern, and you'll become caught up in the middle of it. If you're not more if you don't have any money coming in, it's easy to let go, right? But if suddenly it becomes money and you're invested, and you know what I mean. So okay, next, license to duration. Licenses granted to by you continue for a commercially reasonable period of time after you remove or delete your content from the service. You understand and agree, however, that YouTube may retain but not display, distribute, or perform server copies of your videos that have been removed or deleted. So even after I delete my videos, right, YouTube's gonna be, until how long? Right to monetize. You grant to YouTube the right to monetize your content on the surface, and such monetization may include displaying ads on or within content or charging users a fee or access. This agreement does not entitle you to any payments. Starting June 1st, 2021, any payments you may be entitled to receive from YouTube under any other agreement between you and YouTube, including, for example, payments under the YouTube Partner Program, channel membership, or Super Chat, will be treated as royalties. If required by law, Google will withhold taxes from such payments. So royalty withholding tax, gonna be, it's a tax issue, right? Because you want to say like, bro, maybe it's not really royalty, maybe it's something else, because maybe it's a category of its own, right? But then the tax law haven't caught up. Now what you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? IRS. I'm sorry, man. Oh, shoot. It's educational purpose, guys. Uh, I'm sorry, man. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Right to monetize. I'm not gonna go too far. I'm not gonna go too far. Right to monetize. You grant to YouTube the right to monetize your content on the surface, and such monetization may include displaying ads on or within content or charging users a fee or access. This agreement does not entitle you to any payments. Starting June 1st, 2021, any payments you may be entitled to receive from YouTube under any other agreement between you and YouTube, including, for example, payments under the YouTube Partner Program, channel membership, or Super Chat, will be treated as royalties if required by law. Google will withhold tax from such payments. Removing your content. You may remove your content from the surface at any time. You also have the option to make a copy of your content before removing it. You must remove your content if you no longer have the rights required by these terms. Removal of content by YouTube. If we reasonably believe that any of your content, one, is in breach of this agreement, or two, may cause harm to YouTube, our users, or third parties, we reserve the right to remove or take down that content in our discretion. We will notify you with the reason for our action unless we reasonably believe that to do so, A, would breach the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority, or would otherwise risk legal liability for YouTube or our affiliates. Would compromise an investigation or the integrity or operation of the service, and or C, would cause harm to any user or other third party, YouTube or our affiliates. You can learn more about reporting and enforcement, including how to appeal, on the troubleshooting page of our help center. Community guideline strikes. YouTube operates a system of strikes in respect of content that violates the community guidelines. Each strike comes with varying restrictions and may result in the permanent removal of your channel from YouTube. A full description of how a strike in on is available on the community guidelines strikes basics page. If you believe that a strike has been issued in error, you may appeal here. If your channel has been restricted due to a strike, you must not use another channel to circumvent this restriction. Violation of this prohibition is a material breach of this agreement, and Google reserve the right to terminate your Google account or your access to all or part of the service. Copyright protection. We provide information to help copyright holders manage their intellectual property online in our YouTube Rights Center. If you believe your copyright, I lost track. If you believe, where is it? If you believe your copyright has been infringed, us a notice. We respond to notices of alleged copyright infringement according to the process in our YouTube Copyright Center. Also find information about how to resolve a copyright strike. YouTube's policies provide for the termination in appropriate circumstances of repeat infringers' access to the service. We respond, please bear with me, guys. I want to understand this. We respond to notice of alleged copyright infringement according to the process in it's not in our YouTube Copyright Center. So if we look at this YouTube Copyright Center, oh now it's in a foreign language. Please let me read it myself. It's about appeal. Uh, Sorry guys, I This is getting I don't know what to say. We provide information. I don't know what to say. Please bear with me just a little bit more. We respond. I'm just going to skip this one. Account suspension and termination. Terminations by you. You may stop using the service at any time. Follow these instructions to delete the service from your Google account, which involves closing your YouTube channel and removing your data. You also have the option to download a copy of your data first. Termination and suspensions by YouTube. YouTube reserves the right to suspend or terminate your Google account or your access to all or part of the service if A, you materially or repeatedly breach this agreement. We are required to do so comply with a legal requirement or a court order. Or C, we believe that there has been a conduct that creates or could create liability or harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. Notice for termination or suspension. We will notify you with the reason for termination or suspension by YouTube unless we reasonably believe that to do so, A, would violate the law or the direction of a legal enforcement authority, B, would compromise an investigation, C, would compromise the integrity, operation, or security of the service, D, would cause harm to any user, other third party, YouTube, or our affiliates. Effect of account suspension or termination. If your Google account is terminated or your access to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain aspects of the service, such as viewing only, without an account, and this agreement will continue to apply to such use. If you believe that the termination or suspension has been made an error, you can appeal using this form. Look, guys. Termination by you. You may stop using the service at any time. Follow these instructions to delete or the service from your Google. So there's a hyperlink, right? Which involves closing your YouTube channel and remove your data. You also have the option to download or a copy of your data first. If your Google, so we skip until to the bottom. If your Google account is terminated or your access to the service is restricted, you may continue using certain aspects of the service without an account, and this agreement will continue to apply to such use. If you believe that the termination or suspension has been made in error, you can appeal using this form. However, did you remember that part at the top that says that YouTube can still have access to the things that you've posted, right? So the question is, if you deleted your own content and you no longer have access to these contents, you better be having a copy, right? Because otherwise, YouTube will have access to it, and when you forget about it, YouTube still remember about it, and therefore, is it? I don't think that's I think like you're gonna somewhere along the line probably you're gonna use that document in the past to remember something that is important, that is that is otherwise only could be accessed by that party, by YouTube. So if there are alterations and whatnot, or maybe YouTube kind of only have the shorts version but not the full version, you still have the whole context to kind of give nuances to that limited context. So that I guess there's usefulness in it. But again, data centers are pretty expensive, and after all of these years, it is pretty expensive. It is nice, isn't it? It's nice to dwell in these issues. So let's go about software in the Surface. Downloadable software. When the Surface requires or includes downloadable software, such as YouTube Studio application, unless that software is governed by additional terms which provide a license, YouTube gives you a personal, worldwide, royalty-free, non-assignable, and non-exclusive license to use the software provided to you by YouTube as part of the Surface. This license is for the sole purpose of enabling you to use and enjoy the benefit of the Surface as provided by YouTube in the manner permitted by this agreement. You are not allowed to copy, modify, distribute, sell, or lease any part of the software, or to reverse engineer or attempt to extract the source code of that software unless laws prohibit these restrictions or you have YouTube's written permission. Open source. Some software used in our service may be offered under an open source license that we make available to you. There may be provisions in an open source license that expressly override some of these terms. So please be sure to read those licenses. Um, so if you guys don't know, there are proprietary and there are open source. So components that are open source are all or within a term that obligate those that publicize the software within that has the open source component within it obligated to release it under open source as well. That's the definition of open source. So I would, if it were me, I would put it separately, like right, the access to the software that I don't want to share that much, and the software that other people are mandating me to spread it in the respected open source license. So I hope that that could give the further understanding about that. Other legal terms, warranty disclaimer, other than as expressly stated in this agreement or as required by law, the service is provided as is, and YouTube does not make any specific commitments or warranties about the service. For example, we don't make any warranties about A, the content provided through the service, B, the specific features of the service or its accuracy, reliability, availability, or ability to meet your needs, or C, that any content you submit will be accessible on the surface. Again, like that what I just said, what I said two paragraphs before, any content you submit will be accessible on the surface. So you may, if you don't have a copy, you may not be able to access it anymore, while YouTube have the access to, you don't have the access to that. And probably that thing is something that is pretty important, that you want it to be accessible at least also always by you. And then limitation of liability, except as required by applicable law, YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents will not be responsible for any loss of profits, revenues, business opportunities, good or anticipated savings, loss of or corruption of data, indirect or consequential loss, punitive damages caused by one, errors, mistakes, or inaccuracies on the surface. Two, personal injury or property damage resulting from your use of the surface. Three, any unauthorized access to or use of the surface. Four, any interruption or cessation of the surface. 5. Any viruses or malicious code transmitted to or through the service by any third party. And 6. Any content, whether submitted by a user or YouTube, including your use of content. And or 7. The removal or unavailability of any content. This provision applies to any claim, regardless of whether the claim asserted is based on warranty, contract, tort, or any other theory. To the extent permitted by applicable law, YouTube and its affiliates' total liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater of A, the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you from your use of the service in the 12 months before the date of your notice in writing to YouTube. Of the claim, I gotta repeat that, guys. It's so bad. To the extent permitted by applicable law, YouTube and its affiliates' total liability for any claims arising from or relating to the service is limited to the greater of A, the amount of revenue that YouTube has paid to you from your use of the service in the 12 months before the date of your notice in writing to YouTube of the claim, and B, USD 500. So the amount that you have received from YouTube before 12 months before the date of your notice in writing to YouTube. Okay. Next, indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agree to, and it's a revenue also. It's accrual, not cash. Supposedly, I don't know. You know what? But I could be wrong about that. But it says, it doesn't say cash. It says revenue. So it could be accrual, right? I tend to say that it means accrual, but it could be just cash. Indemnity. To the extent permitted by applicable law, you agree to defend, indemnify, and hold harmless YouTube, its affiliates, officers, directors, employees, and agents from and against any and all claims, damages, obligations, losses, liabilities, or debt, and expenses, including but not limited to attorney fees arising from 1. Your use of and access to the service; 2. Your violation of any term of this agreement; 3. Your violation of any third-party right, including without limitation any copyright, property, or privacy right; or 4. Any claim that your content caused damage to a third party. This defense and indemnification obligation will survive this agreement and your use of the service. Third-party links. The service may contain links to third-party websites and online services that are not owned or controlled by YouTube. YouTube has no control over and assumes no responsibility for such websites and online services. Be aware when you leave the service, we suggest you read the terms and privacy policy of each third party website and online services that you visit. About this agreement, changing this agreement. We may change this agreement, for example, 1, to reflect changes to our service or how do we do business. For example, when we add new products or features or remove old ones; for legal, regulatory, or security reasons; to prevent abuse or harm. Okay, you know what, guys? It's separated. 1, to reflect changes to our service or how do we do business. For example, when we add new products or features or remove old ones. 2, for legal, regulatory, or security reasons. 3, to prevent abuse or harm. If we materially change this agreement, we'll provide you with reasonable advance notice and the opportunity to review the changes, except 1, when we launch a new product or feature, or 2, in urgent situations such as preventing ongoing abuse or responding to legal requirements. If you don't agree to the new terms, you should remove any content you uploaded and stop using the service. Continuation of this agreement if your use of the surface ends, the following terms of this agreement will continue to apply to you. Other legal terms about this agreement. And the licenses granted by you will continue as described under duration of license. Severance, if it turns out that a particular term of this agreement is not enforceable but for any reason. If it turns out that a particular term of this agreement is not enforceable for any reason, this will not affect any other terms. No waiver. If you fail to comply with this agreement and we do not take immediate action, this does not mean that we are giving up any rights that we may have, such as the right to take action in the future. Interpretation. If these terms include or including means including but not limited to, and any examples if in, not if. In these terms, include or including means include limited to, and any examples we give are for illustrative purposes. Governing law. All claims arising out of or relating to these terms or surface will be governed by California law, except California's conflict of laws rules, and will be litigated exclusively in the federal or state courts of Santa Clara County, California, USA. You and YouTube consent to personal jurisdictions in those courts. You know what? California is great actually because all of these companies, right? You gotta admit they like they they're based in California, so you gotta give it to them that they manage to run their surface from California. From I don't know about the location of the surfer or the places of the workers, but legally speaking, right? It is running under the umbrella of the legal properties sanctioned in California. So it's running also using that facility, I guess. So you got to give it to California that, you know what I mean? Like it's kind of facilitates that for the whole world. That is pretty huge. So I guess so if California is a planet, it might be Pluto, but Pluto would have an atmosphere, right? Shout out to Alexandra, Astro Alexandra, to make to talk about things like that. Okay, thank you guys for watching and goodbye.